What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today, it is episode number 51, and the Los Angeles Chargers suck.
No, I know
my team is so bad. They're so bad.
Hey, you chose this fandom.
I chose them. I picked
Actually,
them.
no,
I probably shouldn't have.
You didn't choose them. It was provided to you
me
at birth. It was.
My first words were LaDainian Tomlinson, actually, when I was born. But
it was bolt up.
Yeah, I said bolt up. I said Junior Seau when I was born. But yeah, my team. We're gonna get into that later and how injuries, the injury bug has hit the Chargers harder than maybe any team in NFL history. I'm not going to act like I actually read up on that, but the Chargers right now is a fucking disaster. But forget about the NFL. We're going to get into that later. It's Sunday night. Sunday football's on right now. It is early in the first quarter. We're going to recap the NFL in the second half, but college football was fucking nuts this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. College football was absurd, unreal. We got a lot to dive into. And you know what? There's no better way to start off than with the 30-second college football recap. So Everett, if you could do me a favor, get the timer ready, get everything set up for my college football recap. And if we go over 30 seconds, I don't actually verbally cut me off. Tell me it's done.
At 30.
If it's 30 seconds, verbally cut me off and the video cuts right then and there. Done. Okay. Right. But get your timer ready. Give me like 10 seconds and we're ready to go.
Okay. All right. We'll see how it goes this time.
Broncos just punted. I think they went 3-and-out on their first drive.
And let me see how Javonte Williams is doing. It would have been nice if Brandon Cooks got more than two receptions today. Unfortunately, that did not happen. I am now down by 14 points in my fantasy league.
That's all right, but no one cares about your fantasy league. I guess there's a new undisputed number one team in the country after Georgia struggled with Kent State at home. Ohio State and Wisconsin looked like a JV team over the weekend. That's my number one team in the country. Hendon Hooker and the Tennessee Volunteers picked up a big win at home over Anthony Richardson and the Florida Gators. Oklahoma over the weekend lost to Kansas State at home, who lost to Tulane at home, who lost to Southern Mississippi at home. And finally, the U and their elite offense under offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis lost to Middle Tennessee at home over the weekend. Enough said. All right.
Pretty perfect. That was spot on.
The 30-second college football recap, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I prepped that one out, actually, believe it or not. But we'll get into some college football topics right now. Okay, we have to start out with Georgia struggling with Kent State. If Georgia was crowned the number one team in the country a couple of weeks ago, or last week after their win against South Carolina, opening the season against Oregon, we got to take a little bit back after their performance against Kent State. So Georgia gave up 22 points to Kent State. Everett, in their 3 games combined previously, they gave up 10 points total. So obviously that's very impressive. They give 10 points total to Georgia, like Samford, and then South Carolina. They gave 10 points to those 3 teams, but 22 points to Kent State. I'm very excited to see the new AP poll come out and how Georgia had a dominating win over Kent State, apparently, or at least that's what the media will tell you. But clearly they didn't. And if anything, what I learned over the weekend, there is no undisputed number one team in the country. That is up for debate now. And in my opinion, you should have either Georgia or Ohio State as your number one team in the country. If you have Alabama as your number one team in the country, I don't know what the hell you saw against Texas and that Alabama offense in that game. I don't know what you saw in that game to make you think Alabama is a championship caliber team right now. I don't know. Yeah, and Jeff Wilson just busted off a 50-yard game against the Broncos.
Great. I benched him this week.
Go on.
Nice.
Go on. Yeah.
Well,
that's all I gotta say though, Jordan. If they're gonna be crowned after those first 3 weeks, you have to take a little bit back after their performance last weekend.
No, I agree. And then I mean, I feel like a lot of the teams, especially like the top 10 teams, like Alabama didn't play terribly last week. Ohio State, Vanderbilt. I know Ohio State
destroyed on the road, or who beat Hawaii on the. Okay, actually, that's not a good point. Never mind. Keep going.
Ohio State smacked the living shit out of Wisconsin.
We're about to get to the Ohio State of the Union, but I mean, after what I saw in that game, Ohio State.
Like most of the top 10 teams did very well. So having Georgia, your AP number one.
I wouldn't say most of the top 10 teams did very well. Oklahoma lost, Clemson went to double overtime with Wake.
That's right.
USC barely got by Oregon State. The top 10 did not play well this week, Everett.
Well, I take that back. But I wasn't really watching many of the games as I was working our game. I didn't really get to see many of the game's outcome. But I like even with that being the point, if most of the top 10 teams did poorly, like you have Ohio State, you have Alabama, like they should be prolifically 1 and 2. It's like Georgia obviously won, but it was a close game versus.
I don't think Georgia's obviously won.
No, won, like WON, won. They won the game versus Kent State.
I thought you meant 1 seed.
No, that's why I said Ohio State and Alabama should be 1 and 2.
I don't agree with that either. Alabama, in my opinion, should be the 3 seed in the country.
Over Georgia?
But they won't be. They should be the 3 seed behind Ohio State and Georgia.
But you still think Georgia should be a top 2 team even after
100%. 100%. I'm also a believer that after that big one in South Carolina, do you really think the Georgia Bulldogs were preparing that hard for the Kent State Golden Flashes last week? No, they fucking weren't. If you think Stetson Bennett was putting 100% effort into that game, like, get the hell out. Like, no, he didn't. But with that being said, like, you can't really use that as an excuse to, like, prop up Georgia. But, like, I'll be honest, when teams play, they're out of conference, like, easy schedule out of conference games. Like, I don't really take much out of it.
Yeah.
But because the media was hyping up Georgia so hard after their wins with Oregon, South Carolina, Ohio State deserves to be shouted out after their win against Wisconsin. But I guarantee Ohio State will be the 3 seed in the country with one AP vote as the number 1 team in the country. I can almost guarantee that's what it's going to be next week. And Georgia will have 59 first place votes. I'm almost positive of it. I'm certain of it. And it's going to happen by the time this podcast out. This pod is out. It'll already be out, the AP list, and that's what it'll be. It'll be Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, probably Michigan 4, Clemson 5, USC 6.
You said that Michigan, Ohio State game's on Thanksgiving, right?
Thanksgiving weekend, that's Saturday. That's what it is every year now.
It's just what it has been. I guess they make a lot
of recently I don't think it's always been Thanksgiving weekend, but with the way the college football schedule works, last week of the season's always Thanksgiving weekend. That's like rivalry week now. So I look at the Ohio State Michigan rivalry game as Thanksgiving weekend now.
Yeah, I mean I think that for Ohio State, that game is going to be.
No, it is the game this year. That is the only fucking game circled on the schedule this year. And screw, we're gonna do Ohio State Union right now. Do a little preview, but like for the rest of this Ohio State schedule, they got Penn State on the road. That's going to be a big test for them. They got Penn State on the road, who's a good football team this year. They have a really good running back this year, and they have a dynamic option on offense this year, which they haven't had since Saquon Barkley. Miles Sanders did not provide that option for Penn State. I think
you're saying in running back, right? Not
anything on offense.
Jahan Dotson.
They all happen to be. Yeah, but he wasn't enough to put them over the top and actually do so. Like Saquon made Penn State's offense special, and I think. Who they have at running back now, I think it's Nicholas something. Like, I think this guy has the potential to really put that offense over the top and be a threat against Michigan, Ohio State.
Low-key put them on, like, the recent, like, modern map for Big Ten.
No, 100%. Like, without Saquon Barkley, James Franklin's not at Penn State still. So,
actually, like... After that scandal?
No, yeah. Well, forget about we're not getting into Joe Paul right now, but... that Penn State, there was so much momentum. 2016 or 2017, they pulled up a big upset in their whiteout against Ohio State. I thought they were going to build a bunch of momentum after that win, and they haven't really gone anywhere since. They haven't really done much. They're recruiting their ass off, which I don't really know how they're selling players on Penn State right now. Who the fuck would want to play for that team? but like they're getting recruits, they're getting players. They had Micah Parsons, like shit. Like they have guys on their team. And Penn State this year, I'm keep my eye out for them. That's all I got to say. It's another team, the Big Ten East, I know, but I'm keeping my eye out for them. Like Penn State is not a chalk up easy win. Not this year.
No, they're not.
But okay, Ohio State, the Union. A lot of people are going to be talking about CJ Stroud's performance, how Ohio State's passing game was clicking. Jack Smith and Jigba was not playing for this game. They were throwing the ball to Emeka Egbuka, primarily. Cade Stover, tight end, was getting love in this Ohio State passing offense. And I know a lot of people are going to be talking about that, but this is what I really want to focus about. Not the passing offense. There are other aspects of Ohio State's game that really inspired me for the rest of the season, how I think they'll do. So first things first, the Ohio State run game. Ohio State ran for 258 yards on 43 carries against Wisconsin. They averaged 6 yards per carry against a Wisconsin defense. Now, going into the game, I would not have thought they would do that. After seeing that after seeing the Notre Dame game, seeing that interior line, Donovan Jackson, Whippler, and Matt Jones, how they were playing against that O-line, I didn't think that this team could generate a push like they did last Saturday against Wisconsin. They had a push up front, and they opened up these holes for Trevion Henderson, for Mayan Williams. Ohio State has a run game. Last year, they didn't have a run game. Michigan shut down that Ohio State offense, made them one-dimensional, forcing them to pass all the time, and CJ Stroud had a good game against Michigan. But when it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, every fucking third down, you're not going to win football games. And this year, Ohio State is setting up their offense for good situations in third down. And that's why I'm very confident in this team. And I think they actually have a chance of winning the Natty this year, because the offense isn't one-dimensional. They can run the ball. Justin Fry, fucking tip of the cap to you, brother. Oh my God, this offensive line unit, Donovan Jackson was playing out of his mind. He was playing out of his mind. True sophomore left guard playing out of his mind. But okay, moving on. Let's talk about the Ohio State run defense. Braylon Allen, Wisconsin's running back. Everybody knows who he is. Against Ohio State's backups on defense in the third quarter, he broke off a 75-yard touchdown, okay? He broke it off, got a big run. Take away that score, Ohio State's run defense gave up 117 rush yards on 34 carries, averaging 3.4 yards per carry, and a run-first, run-dominant power running offense from Wisconsin. Holding them to 3.4 yards, that's very impressive for an Ohio State defense going into the season where everyone thought they were going to be fucking dog shit. Okay? From what I compared to last year, the season before, to what I'm seeing on the defensive end this year, Jim Knowles is cranking shit. He is dialing things up on defense, Everett. He's creating havoc for the opposing quarterbacks. He's confusing them in the backfield. We're not running a base cover 3 fucking shell every goddamn play. No, we're actually setting the tone on defense this year, and we're not running base cover 1, cover 3. We're changing the shit up. And Ohio State's defense this year, it almost feels like they're playing offense on defense. They're not sitting back, letting the offense attack them. They're attacking the offense. They're putting pressure on the offense, forcing them to adjust to them rather than adapting to what the offense is doing. The defense for Ohio State shows them a look, and you force the offense to adjust to us, not the other way around. And it's inspiring to see, because that hasn't been the case for the past couple of years in this Ohio State defense under fucking Kerry Coombs, you bum ass. But okay, Ohio State's 2 starting corners were out for this game in Denzel Burke and Cam Brown. They had 3 scholarship corners on the roster for this game, Everett. Very unproven. They had redshirt freshmen, true sophomores starting at corner in this game. And you know what they fucking did, Everett? They held Graham Mertz in Wisconsin to 94 yards passing. 94 yards passing. We had 3 scholarship corners in the pass defense. They held them to 94 yards passing, Everett.
I would say that's
Are you kidding me?
Pretty impressive.
If you were telling me before the game started that Ohio State's 3rd and 4th string corners would hold the Wisconsin passing game to under 100 yards, no way.
These kids are freshmen, right? Like true freshmen?
Like second year, but first year, like first time actually playing.
Yeah, first time actually playing.
like redshirt freshmen. But it's like they performed, and it blew my mind.
Playing against Wisco too, by the way. Like
now Wisco doesn't have a great passing offense. I get that,
but
it's their first Big Ten test. They didn't play. Yeah. They hardly had any snaps the 3 games previous. They get thrusted into this role and they performed. So Ohio State's run defense and pass defense, I was very, very impressed. Very, very inspired from what I saw. Overall, I was very impressed with how Ohio State won. And of course, CJ Stroud played amazing. The passing game was on point. Everyone's going to be talking about it. But my big takeaways was how impressive the run game on offense and defense looked, how the pass defense looked, how those other 3 facets of Ohio State's offensive defense, other than the passing game, looked dominant. That's why I was very inspired about this team. And that's why I think they truly have a chance of winning the national championship this year. I think they're better than Alabama at this point of the season. I think they're better than Georgia at this point of the season.
It also just comes down to the stretch and how Ohio State can do down the stretch, especially at Michigan. I don't know what Georgia or Alabama's conference play schedule is going to look like.
Oh, it's a fucking cakewalk, probably.
Probably. So that's the difference. And if
probably got Wofford in week 10.
It's going to be in the shoe, right? Michigan and
yeah,
Ohio
it's in Columbus
State
this year, which is obviously very inspiring.
If that helps, but if Ohio State can when they play Michigan can just literally walk through them, if they can just slice and dice straight through them, I say you're looking good for the college playoffs.
That game comes down to the run game, run defense. Like that game comes down to running the football. If Ohio State can run the ball on Michigan, it's going to be a long day for the Wolverines.
It's just a long day. Is the offense just Blake Corum? Is that it?
So I was talking to some Michigan fans. They weren't very happy with J.J. McCarthy's performance over the weekend. Blake Corum went off, had 240 yards, like 5 touchdowns. Motherfucker went off. But they were very concerned about the passing game. But this is all I have to say. Michigan right now, like they got 2 months to prepare for the game. J.J. McCarthy, that was his first college start. Like that start last week against Maryland was his first college start. Michigan, unlike most college football teams, they had the luxury of having a preseason going into their Big Ten conference schedule. They had a preseason where they played Hawaii, UConn. They played a bunch of jokes, and they had a preseason to break their players in. Now, I'm not going to shit on Michigan because in those preseason games, they handled business exactly how you would expect a top 4 team to handle business. So after those games, I see a lot of people knocking Michigan for their weak ass schedule for, oh, you guys are playing shitty teams. Yes, they did. But I'm going to be honest, going into the season, I didn't think they'd play that good against those teams. And because they did, I'm giving them respect. I'm giving Michigan credit. Like that start last week was JJ's first college start. Like it truly was. When you consider the defenses he went up against before.
Michigan play?
They were literally playing bums, like Hawaii, like
last week.
Maryland. And this is another thing. So I think they held Maryland to 13 points. In my opinion, Mini Tua, Tua's little brother, he's the quarterback for Maryland. I think he's the second best quarterback in the Big Ten behind CJ Stroud. I think that was a very impressive.
You're telling me you don't have faith in Tanner Morgan from Minnesota?
Okay. That was a very impressive win to me. Like holding Maryland's offense to 13 points, that's very impressive to me. Like a lot of people were like some of my Michigan friends were a little like discouraged by their defense performance. That's a very fucking good defensive performance in my opinion. Like I think Maryland has a top 3 offense in the Big Ten and they held them to 13 points. Like that's, I don't really get why Michigan fans were kind of upset about that.
Wasn't Maryland also, were they 2-1 or are they 3-0?
I think they were 3-0.
So, I mean, they also probably had a cakewalk schedule up to that point, but
regardless,
they played SMU, they played SMU. They played SMU.
Yeah. But like I expected Maryland to have a top 3 offense of the country or in the Big Ten, and I still think they do, but I was impressed by Michigan over the weekend. Like I thought that was a good win by them.
Yeah, impressive win for Michigan.
I'm not quite ready to say like uberly impressive. Like obviously Michigan fans would have loved to see it be like 40-10 to 42-10, but if I was a Michigan fan going into the season, losing all those players on defense, uncertainty, your fucking coach doesn't even want to coach your team anymore, I'd be pretty happy with the state of the program right now. I don't know. I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, I would agree.
It seems like it's in a pretty good place, in my opinion.
But lose recruits that way too. They lost for some recruits when he was doing interviews for the NFL jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why the fuck you'd ever want to go to Michigan right now to play football. Like, but whatever. So some people think it's a good school. Maybe you think it's good for your football career. Donovan Peoples-Jones will probably say otherwise. But yeah, that's all I had on college football. I think you might have your Tulane segment right now, Everett, and I'm gonna take a piss while you go over because I don't really care about it. But yeah, on. Tulane football.
Appreciate the confidence. All right, look, didn't play well this weekend. There's no way around it. Didn't play well this weekend. A lot of things could be done better, but a lot of ways that we could have won. But it doesn't beat around the bush of the fact we lost. We lost the Bell. We lost Southern Miss. Doesn't feel good. With that said, it's a new week. It's a new day. We're going to come back and play Houston on Friday. Night game on ESPN. Check it out. We're going to get right back on the right road with a win this weekend versus Houston. But the one thing that I will say, I mean, Hurts probably would have been ranked if we had won, because obviously K-State beat Oklahoma. K-State I think has a majority votes to get ranked in the AP polls this week. So, and with that said, Tulane also did get a couple votes for the AP polls, even though we lost. Not sure if that was because they just saw the K-State score and just immediately put Tulane in there, or if they did see the Tulane score and still decided that. But there's confidence there. It's a great team. So, we just got to keep moving. Losses happen. It's football. Any given Sunday, any given Saturday in college football. And, life moves on. The season moves on. And we're going to make it. We're going to do great things. This is where legends are made. It's going to be great. But, yeah, I just think that for Tulane, it's good. It's good that Kansas State won, that they beat Oklahoma, and I don't know what's up with Oklahoma. I just
heard you talking about you're happy that at least Kansas State beat Oklahoma. That's loser talk right there.
It's not loser talk. It's a quality win. It's a quality win.
Talk. Who the fuck cares anymore?
I do. I care.
No one cares. The country doesn't care.
Is the country paying attention to Tulane football right now?
Definitely not.
Okay, so then I don't care about that. I don't care about your opinion.
Okay. I'm excited for the Poinsettia Bowl for Tulane at the end of the year. But yeah, Tulane, better than luck next season. I was expecting a little more. I guess the media overhyped Tulane last weekend, making them a 13-point favorite against Southern Miss. But yeah, Tulane football will be back next year. Undefeated season. We were 1 year away. But okay, NFL Everett. 30-second NFL recap. Everett. Screw it. I'll time this one. Everett. You got this shit ready, brother. You ready to go?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
3, 2, 1.
Vikings with a big comeback win. Jared Goff, lick my nuts. Bengals got their first win of the season. Raiders are the only 0-3 team in the NFL. Devontae Adams clearly putting the help out there. Carson Wentz is back. Clearly thought he was playing for the Eagles. Eagles got smoked the commies today. Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes fighting on the sidelines as the Colts take down the Chiefs. What the fuck? Ken Dorsey confirmed that he is a psychopath when he realized that the AFC East runs through your 3-0 Dolphins.
All right. I think that should be good. 31 seconds, but fuck it, good enough. We can edit out some breaks in between there. I thought that went well. That's your 30-second NFL recap, everybody. Hopefully that does as many numbers as the college football recap. Okay, before we get into these NFL games, first thing I just want to go over, I'm not actually going to break down this game, but George Pickens had one of the greatest catches I'd ever seen in my life on Thursday Night Football last week on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Now, this was my first reaction to this play. George Pickens kind of showed us on that play before the game was going on during the week. George Pickens made some noise saying, I'm open 90% of the plays and I don't get the ball thrown to me. He was making a little bit of noise. And Pickens in that little pitch and catch right there, from what I saw, I just call it a pitch and catch. It was a little more than that. George Pickens kind of showed that he is an alpha X receiver in this league and that he demands the ball and that he should be given to it. My one problem, though, and I'm looking at this from a pure fantasy perspective because I have Pickens on my team, that might be his ceiling for the season. 3 catches for 65 yards. That might be a ceiling because that Steelers passing offense is non-existent.
So here's my question. When and if they put
it's non-existent.
When and if they put in Pickett, do you think it gets any better?
I'm not a fan of rookie from a fantasy wide receiver perspective. I hate rookie quarterbacks or younger quarterbacks. It doesn't even have to be rookie. Like we can even look at Debo and Ayuk. I didn't like that situation with Lance coming in. Wasn't a fan.
Yeah, but I mean, young quarterbacks
with younger quarterbacks like Kirk, I faded, but we'll get into that later. Christian Kirk lit my fucking team up today. Anyway, like I'm not very confident in Pickens fantasy from a pure fantasy perspective. I'm not very confident in his numbers with Pickett coming in. That Steelers offense is non-existent. They don't have any protection up front. They got no run game to complement it. It's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, every single third down. You can't get the chains moving.
I have a question for you. Do you think, because I personally think that Najee Harris, the reason why he's not running as well is, one, he's still recovering from an injury, but also I think
that foot injury is bad in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree too. It's a Liz Frank injury, which means
which had ETN was out for the year last year.
Which also has Corral. Corral got it this year in the preseason. He's out for the season too. I know you don't care. I know you don't care, but still.
Yeah, I'm no doctor. That I leave that to you. But
I think that's one thing. But I also think that the other reason why the Steelers don't have a run game is because the O-line, the blocking scheme for the run game is just terrible. It's horrendous.
And it's like for Najee to get his yards, you gotta scheme him up. You gotta give him a little screen, get him a little something, get him in space.
I saw this comparison the other day, by the way. Somebody compared the Steelers' run game to the Cowboys, said Najee Harris is like Zeke and Jalen Warren is like Tony Pollard. And I kind of see it, but also
Jalen
Warren is like he's like a rookie running back they just drafted. I haven't seen him play, but I've heard that he's good.
On the Steelers.
On the Steelers, yeah.
Oh, actually, I know who you're talking about. He fumbled and they recovered it, but I liked the looks that guy gave a lot. And something I think of, like, so as an Ohio State fan, like when Ohio State puts in their power running back, Mayan Williams, you're assuming it's a run. You know, like you're assuming it's a run, stuff the box, fill it in. The Steelers, their running back situation is different, where their main running back, Najee Harris, you stuff the box on him. When they bring in, what's his name again?
Jalen Warren, I think.
When you bring in Jalen Warren, you don't stuff the box. You're not as concerned about him, and that gives the Steelers an opportunity to run the football. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
because you're not concerned about the run. You
think it's a pass? Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the same situation in Dallas when Pollard gets in the game. You're like, oh, fuck their run, they're passing. Or I don't know. Pollard, it seems when Pollard's on the field, like the defenses they go up against are giving them.
I also don't know why. I'm starting to get Josh Jacobs feels from Najee Harris this season.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
It's Josh Jacobs is another running back behind a god-awful offensive line, struggling to get his yards every week. But I don't know. Like the Steelers offense just in general, like going back to Pickens, there's no one in that Steelers offense that I would start in fantasy or be very or confident that they'll perform this year. There's no guarantees.
Yeah. I've kind of also like I held on to Derrick Henry. I drafted him, and like I think that once the season gets on, he's a bone.
Well, this week he put up a lot of points, but it's just inconsistent. And
no, it is. And
going into the season, I didn't expect the Titans to take such a step back, but
I agree that there is inconsistency when it comes to the running backs, especially. But I do think that there is in that inconsistency, at least for a non-fantasy perspective, just from a performance perspective in game, like Nick Chubb's gonna give out the same amount. Derrick Henry hasn't played well, but I perceive him to start giving out the same amount. Saquon got shut down, but on general, perceive him doing the same amount.
No, yeah. I just think with that offense and the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry's upside isn't what it was in the past. Like when you have AJ Brown on the field, you're still stuffing the box against the Titans, but
it's a little bit easier.
The Titans can get the chains moving with a passing option. They can give Derrick Henry more touches by being able to convert their third downs with
I don't know about you, but I'm not as scared as of Robert Woods and Treylon Burks as I am as AJ Brown, as I clearly saw demonstrated last week.
And like Tannehill just benefited so much from having AJ Brown this year that we've seen.
Also, in my opinion, by the way,
Brown has,
in my opinion,
oh my God, Cortland Sutton is screaming down the field. Holy shit! Broncos are moving the ball.
Broncos are moving the ball. That is not what I needed to hear.
It's the end of the first quarter, Everett. It's the end.
I am playing against Cortland Sutton right now to win this week.
I drafted Cortland Sutton in all my leagues. It was a horrible. I mean, he's doing well fantasy wise, but I mean, this Broncos passing offense fucking sucks.
The Broncos.
I knew it was going to happen. I was saying 6-11, 7-10 for the Broncos preseason. It's probably going to end up being that. I think the Raiders might actually be worse than that.
But
Raiders might go 7-10.
Here's the thing. Also, I think by the end of the season, Malik Willis is the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like I understand a lot of like Patrick Mahomes ruined the league. You're right about this point where everyone wants their rookie quarterback to come in and start performing right away. But like, just look at this year. Starting Ryan Tannehill versus starting Malik Willis. Like, you're not winning shit this year anyway. You might as well just give Malik reps. And I can get, like, you don't want to ruin his confidence. You don't want to put him in and he just underperforms and just ruins his whole career. I get that. But, like, at least end of the season, fuck it. Just get him playing time. Like,
well, no, that's what I think.
You're not going anywhere this year.
Like, that's...
Like the whole AFC South, you might as well just turn it over to your
The thing with the Chiefs in the AFC West, when Patrick Mahomes was a rookie that year, right? Alex Smith was the quarterback. They made the playoffs. They locked their seed into the playoffs with Alex Smith, and that last game was against the Broncos, and they decided to give Patrick Mahomes the reps that game. Patrick Mahomes beat the brakes off of the Broncos.
I don't think he beat the brakes off them. I think they just won.
They did just win, but I mean, for going into the game, what they thought was going to happen was that the Broncos were going to absolutely demo that week because they were playing all their starters.
You just didn't know what to see out of it.
Right. Yeah. So for expectations, beating the brakes. But like he waited the whole year. He sat behind a prolific, well-known quarterback who was doing well, and he took that last game, showed him what they got, and then they started him the next year, and then we had that MVP season. So, like, in my opinion, like, that's the way I would go about it, sitting behind Ryan Tannehill. But I think by the end of the season, like people, because they see what Patrick Mahomes is doing, they see what Justin Herbert's doing, they see what Joe Burrow's doing, right? Mm-hmm. Josh Allen, like, they want to know if their quarterback's going to be that guy immediately. And, I mean, which sucks because if you're throwing him into the Bears like Justin Fields, he's not going to do well. Zach Wilson, I mean, just sucks, but still the Jets aren't prolifically great.
I 100% get what you mean, but Titans offense, that's a little more.
It's a little like just think about this. You know what the Ravens, and I'm not saying that Malik Willis is Lamar Jackson by any means, but he is a rookie quarterback.
Say that, but
and it's also the same thing. I'm not saying
I'm curious to see where this
I'm not saying he's Jalen Hurts either, but he is a rush dominant quarterback. He is a scrambling quarterback. He can run.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, so he's a Trey Lance. That's So with Derrick Henry in your backfield and with a quarterback that has legs that can move in the same way that Trey Lance does, Jalen Hurts kind of, I'm not going to say Lamar Jackson because no one can really move like Lamar Jackson, but just a very mobile quarterback. Right? That opens up so many lanes for your offense, especially rushing wise, because not only are they now going to be worried about Derrick Henry, but they're going to be worried about your quarterback. And that also adds to play action. Like, I think that just gives you a better chance to win.
No, yeah, I do agree with that. Overall, I just think regardless of if you win games or not with Malik Willis,
it doesn't matter.
I can see, but I understand. I do understand the perspective. You don't want your rookie quarterback to just lose full confidence.
But also,
I totally understand that.
You drafted him. You drafted him in the fourth round.
I'll be honest, it's a tough situation.
You drafted.
I honestly don't know what's the answer.
You drafted him in the fourth round.
You're not really betting your.
You're not betting your franchise on it. You might as well let him start.
Oh, actually, I kind of like that point. Like if he fails, who gives a fuck? He's a fourth round pick.
Yeah. It's like actually, the same thing.
I like that
with the Panthers. Look with the Panthers. They obviously they have Sam Darnold. They have Baker Mayfield on the roster. PJ, whatever.
Why not pick up Matt Corral?
But if Matt Corral didn't get a Liz Frank injury, right? If he wasn't done for the season,
he also had a fucking Liz Frank's going around everywhere. Goddamn.
If he didn't go on IR, I would say start him. What do you have to lose? You drafted him in the fifth, sixth.
No. I get that sense.
Literally nothing could be worse than currently your quarterback situation that you were playing. So why not give him the opportunity? You don't know.
Actually, yeah, no. I like that point. Actually, I like that. I think you might as well just throw in the backup. You might as well get some reps in. Fuck it, why not throw Malik in?
If you're a young
Falcons, they won today. Screw it. Why not give Ritter a chance? Mariota, what are you getting out of that?
And I mean, look, but this is not the case whatsoever for any of these quarterbacks.
One of those guys will pan out.
But also, for Tom Brady, he was the fifth quarterback on the Patriots roster, and they let him play. They put him in. They gave him the opportunity. Obviously, Drew Bledsoe went down with an injury, but they didn't really have a choice. But they kept him on their roster. He got playing time, and now it's Tom Brady. So, quarterbacks that are on your roster that are buried on rosters sometimes might be the best quarterback you've ever seen in your franchise.
Yeah, the Tom Brady comparison was, not everyone's Tom Brady, but I get your point. I get your point.
I'm just saying, Kirk Cousins.
You don't really know until they get a chance.
Kirk Cousins and RG3 were taking the same draft. Kirk Cousins sat behind RG3. Kirk Cousins is starting quarterback in the NFL right now.
No, exactly. He's destroying your franchise out of millions of dollars every season. Shout out his agent. Okay. I think we spent enough time on Browns Titans. Okay. We're getting into your game. I want to get you a little moving here. Lions, Vikings. So before I get into my questions, Everett, I want you to take me through what was going through your mind in that third quarter, fourth quarter. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the Vikings scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to take the lead.
Yes.
So late game comeback, late game heroics. What was going through your head second half specifically?
The Vikings were down 10 points 2 different times in this game. The only time that they've overcome 2 10-point deficits to win was in 1970s, I think, the 1980s, something like that. Maybe it was in the 1900s. It was a while ago. So it had been a minute. And look, I just saw that when it was on the broadcast. But
Nick Bosa just got literally tackled to the ground by the right tackle. They didn't call holding.
Garrett Bowles, everybody. But the third quarter was very frustrating because the Vikings offense was completely stagnant. They were doing nothing. And the Vikings defense seemed like they didn't really care, that they didn't want to be there. And I still, to this point, I think that the big adjustments that need to be made for the Vikings defense is you don't need to fire Ed Donatel yet. We're in week 3. Like I know I said fire him, find a new DC. But
I want to fire the Chargers offensive coordinator, but we're saving.
That's a different story, though.
Yeah,
that's a different story. But look, Ed Donatel. Really, the first thing that needs to be done is stop playing shell coverage. I literally feel like you're the kid in Madden who's pressing zone coverage every play. Like you're not doing anything new.
Now, when you say shell coverage, are we talking what? Cover 3 every fucking play?
It's like cover 3. It's just like Tampa. I guess not Tampa, but
when you say shell, I saw you tweeting a lot. Like stop running shell coverage, and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's like cover 3, cover 4 kind of ordeal.
Like every team has a base shell. I get that.
So what they do is they play basically their corners are like 5-ish yards off the wide receivers, off the line. So they play back. And then they kind of
I'm gonna be honest though, when I was seeing that, my first thought is if your corners are playing off the line and they're not pressing, that's probably because they can't press.
No, they can't. But they can and they can't. So
can Patrick Peterson press, Everett? You tell me.
Patrick Peterson can press, but it also it's like one of the only things that he's actually somewhat decent at is he can press. But
I don't know why he's playing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Cam Dantzler can't press. Well, that's what I'm saying is they've only really played shell coverage.
But
like
I'm just confused.
You think you're confused? I'm fucking confused.
Yeah, but that like something's not adding up here, Everett.
No, well, I'm not on the team. I can't go into Ed Donatel's office and look through his playbooks.
No, I'm aware, but
why
the complaints you're telling me reminds me a lot of Ohio State's defense last year when they ran cover 3 every single play.
But look,
and you're kind of like, what the fuck?
Let me finish my point though. Look. Something clearly there's a reason. I know there's a reason why they do it, but like I would at least like to see you try and put some man coverage in there. Like let's see it. Maybe add some extra blitzes in here and there. Maybe do a nickel blitz. I haven't seen a corner come off a blitz or a safety come off a blitz once this season yet. The big problem is on like 4th down today, the Lions converted like 5 of 6.
Oh, it was hilarious when I saw
every single time they would throw the ball. Every single time they would throw the ball, and all they had to do was
just playing off.
They would just run a slant right over the middle. The same thing that the Eagles did last week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's no adjustments. Like, do something. I don't care. Run
no,
man.
No, okay. I get your complaints now. And it just seems to me that your defensive coordinator, I'm looking at this from the perspective of Ohio State's defense the past 2 years. It seems to me where the defense coordinator come from? Where did he come from?
Oh, Denver. He was in Vic Fangio's system last year. Denver.
Oh, but he's an NFL guy.
He's an NFL guy. Yeah, he's been coaching for like 30, 40 years.
Oh, well, he just sounds like a stubborn fucking old man who doesn't want to change his ways. That's what he sounds like. Like Ohio State's D coordinator last year, he was just a dumb fuck and didn't know anything else other than cover 3. So that's.
But also here's my other thing. It
seems to me you have a stubborn D coordinator.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. Look, like regardless of that, like I would like to see some man coverage. I'd like to see some switch up on the play calling on defense.
I'll be honest. I think he could probably get it done though, because he doesn't seem like a dumbass. Like the Ohio State
he definitely can. So that's why I'm confused, because there was no adjustments from the Eagles game to this game. Everything looked exactly the same. It literally doesn't make sense. Regardless of that, Vikings need a quarterback, a true number 1 quarterback, desperately. And Patrick Peterson should not be the number 1. I want to give Cam Dantzler that. See how he does. Put Patrick Peterson at 2. Put him in slot. Let him do that. I think he's going to do a good job at that. The other thing is Lewis Cine has been active the last 2 games. He has seen one down on defense between those 2 games combined. And Harrison Smith was out with a concussion this entire game. He did not play. So I'm a little confused. If did Lewis Cine kill Ed Donatel's dog? Like I don't know.
Like I know they play different positions.
No.
I thought Lewis Cine played free.
Yes, and no. Lewis Cine, the play calling that they had, like Josh Metellus is the backup, but he and Lewis Cine play the same position.
Is Metellus? Didn't he go to Michigan?
Metellus did go to Michigan.
I wouldn't start that guy, but.
Well, he actually played really well today. He had a pick, 4 pass breakups, and like 11 tackles.
I bet he would have been a 1st-round pick if he went to Ohio State.
They got him like the 5th or 6th round, something like that a while ago.
Go figure.
But yeah, that's my complaints on defense and especially in the third quarter. But what I will say is the Vikings have not let up a single point in the entire fourth quarter every single game this season. Has not let up a point at all in the fourth quarter of the season, which is a big turnaround compared to last year when they let up basically every point within the last 2 minutes of both halves.
Yeah, and before I transition to my short charter segment, I feel like last year the Vikings had a lot of late game leads where they lost, or was it the other way around?
Yeah. I would say that it was more so like if they either would have leads and they would lose the leads and completely break down, or
fast game,
or it was all close, or they would come back and they would start like they would be there and the defense would implode and give it back away and yada yada.
Yeah. So like one thing from if I was a Vikings fan, I would be inspired that you guys capped off a comeback this week. Like,
yeah, no,
that shows a lot of resilience for your team, how
saying.
Their attitude is. And also, like, we're about to get into this. Justin Jefferson didn't have his greatest game, and the Vikings offense was still able to get moving. And also Dalvin Cook got hurt, and they were still able to get some points going. So
this is
I'd be a little inspired if I was you.
I mean, look, it is. I would rather take
my Chargers can't get a win when our players get hurt. So
I would rather take an ugly win over like a great loss. Like a win is a win. I don't care
especially in division, a win is a win.
Vikings are
especially in division.
Vikings are 2-0 in division so far.
Like that's I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of what matters most.
I would rather have that. Like
this is a great weekend for Vikings fans.
Not the greatest
weekend.
Not the greatest start to the game at all. Like really, most of our points came in the second half. We missed 2 field goals, both from 56 yards. I know they're long field goals, but still, like we can get those. So
I'm gonna have to pause you. Deebo Samuel is hurt right now.
Oh boy, not good.
Keep going, but he's down. He is down. Keep going.
But offense can get a bit better. Justin Jefferson, getting held up here and there, getting double teamed. Like it's very hard. Like once they stopped trying to feed it to Justin Jefferson when he clearly was getting double teamed the whole game, that's when the offense started picking up. That's when Adam Thielen started picking up. That's when KJ Osborne started picking up, especially KJ Osborne's cold-blooded. Like that dude.
I'm a big fan of KJ Osborne. I love KJ Osborne.
That dude in the
Kevin O'Connell. That dude's a fucking mismatch. Like you have to focus on Jay Jettas and Thielen. The third string corner got to guard Osborne. Give him the fucking ball. Okay. Like
that. He is so good.
I think KJ, I'm a big fan of Osborne. Like he might be my favorite player on the Vikings if I didn't draft Justin Jefferson in fantasy.
I
would be my favorite.
Osborne. He's so good, especially in the fourth quarter. Like last year, I think it was also week 3. Comeback win in OT versus the Panthers. KJ Osborne literally the same route down the field, touchdown, win the game, seal it. So
I'm gonna be honest though. I'm gonna shout out your offensive coordinator for we're about to get into this, but if you are correct about this and Jay Jettas was getting double teamed, if that was the case, shout out your offensive coordinator for starting scheming up your other receivers. Because the goddamn fucking Los Angeles Chargers offensive coordinator, Mike Williams, it's a shame I can't see the fucking secondary coverage with the goddamn CBS broadcast system. But if I could see it, maybe I could see how Mike Williams was doing running his routes.
So let me have one.
It's just my fucking team. We don't scheme up anyone. We don't scheme up anyone.
Let me get one final point before we transition to the Chargers.
Well, I also have a question for you, but give me your last point.
Look, Vikings offense. Once we started to realize that you can't always just pass to Justin Jefferson and other people are open, utilize Justin Jefferson being there to get your other receivers open. They know that Justin Jefferson is going to be good, so they have to double team him. They have to cover him. So because of that, you're going to have holes somewhere in the defensive coverage. So starting to realize that that's how you utilize it. And Kevin O'Connell obviously was OC, but he's still a first-time head coach. It's a first-time OC right now for offensive coordinator. Like, it's a learning curve.
No, I think that's a very big win.
But I think
guys, like I'd be fucking hyped right now.
Now understanding that going into the rest of the season after already having our humbling process done, we started off slow. There wasn't much energy. It was a little lethargic, but coming back, getting that energy, getting the team going down. By the way, in the fourth quarter, getting booed by the home crowd because you were so stagnant on offense and terrible on defense, and still coming back and getting the win. I think that's huge for motivation. That's huge going forward.
No, yeah, I just say like as like a new NFL fan, like compared to being a college fan my whole life, like in college, style points matter. Like how you win matters. In the NFL, it doesn't. Like a win is a fucking win. Like if you get a W on the schedule, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how you did it. But in college, how you win matters. And I guess I'm kind of learning that a little bit more this year, like as the season progresses, and how like it doesn't fucking matter how you win in this league. Like a win is a win and you take whatever you can get. So
literally, I could not care less that we had to come back to beat the Lions to win.
If anything, if I was you, I would be so
like also the Lions aren't even a bad team this year. Like these
Lions are way better than those Lions. Like these Lions are way better this year. Like the Lions put up what 35 on the Eagles week 1. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like they have grit, like they have fire to them. And so, okay, I think we spent. Okay, this is the last thing I want to say. Are you going to give any shout out to Jeffrey Okudah for the game? I can't say I watched any second of your game. Not gonna lie, can't say I watched any bit of it unless it popped up on Red Zone. But on Twitter, a lot of people were saying that Okudah locked that ass down.
Yeah, I'll shout him out. Jeffrey Okudah, like I'm a fan. I like.
Remember, you won this game. So
I like him.
Give me your actual opinion.
When he was in. He did have some one-on-one coverage with Justin Jefferson, and he did lock down Justin Jefferson on.
I also just want to say when people are saying Okudah held Jay Jettis to 3 catches, 14 yards, that's obviously not completely true because it's. I know for fact. I mean, I didn't watch the game, but there's 0% chance Okudah was shadowing him the whole game.
No, he was not.
There's 0% chance.
So Okorie was also there. Like he, I think, was playing against Adam Thielen for most of the game. I do think he got on Justin Jefferson a couple of plays. But look, Jeff Okudah, he did play very well versus Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson did have 3 catches, but also he did have help from safeties from other corners. Like Justin Jefferson was double teamed. So you just can't say that he like limited him to 3 catches because like also, I mean, all the other players were getting the ball in the Vikings offense. So that's not necessarily fair, but I will shout him out. He did play very well, especially against one of the best wide receivers in the league. Did make it more difficult to play. I will say that. I think the future's bright for him.
All I want to say is Okudah, obviously that first year didn't go to plan. He tears his Achilles last season, week 1. Fucking horrible.
Look, coming back from an Achilles injury, like he is doing very well. And
like this is what I want to say. When Jeffrey Okudah played at Ohio State Everett, I will never forget in the 2019 college football playoff semifinal, Jeffrey Okudah was manhandling T fucking Higgins so hard. Okay. T Higgins, I will never forget. T Higgins. It's an out route. It's a comeback route. It's a throw to the sideline. And Jeffrey Okudah lays T Higgins out, and T Higgins taps out and says, fucking take me out. I need a breather. Like I'm done. And I will never forget that. I'll never forget that for the rest of my life when I saw my boy, Jeffrey Okudah El Jefe, shitting on T Higgins, who a lot of people
by the way
say is a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL.
It's some gross. T Higgins had a gross catch today.
Disgusting. And we're not going to talk about the Bengals because they played against the Jets, but it was a good get right game. Get your season back on track. They lost that game. It might chalk up the year. You can't go 0-3. Fuck it. Okay, I'm about to have fun. We're about to get into the Raiders. Fuck it. We're gonna save my Chargers for later. But okay, last thing about Jeffrey Okudah. I just want to shout him out. Week 1, he wasn't on AJ Brown. Apparently, he was keying on Smitty. Smitty had 0 catches, 0 yards week 1. But like then again, Smitty's their wide receiver 2. So I mean, whatever. Week 2 though, against the commies, Terry McLaurin, a little Ohio State violence, held Terry to 2 catches, 22 yards. That's fucking impressive to me. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Like that one's that. But also, Terry McLaurin's very impressive to me.
Is that impressive, or does Carson Wentz just suck? Because I mean, Carson Wentz just suck.
There is that too, but I mean, Terry McLaurin could put up 98 catches with Heineke, with
But Carson Wentz actively seeks out the other team.
Would you rather have Taylor Heineke or Carson Wentz, Everett? And don't even act for a second you'd pick Heineke. Don't even fucking tell me it. No, you really would pick Heineke, wouldn't you? No,
trick question. I'm running JD McKissick at Wildcat the entire game.
Wildcat Antonio Gibson. I don't blame you either. But okay, yeah, Jeffrey Okudah. I'm so happy my boy is fucking performing. I love Jeffrey Okudah. Jeffrey Okudah, one of my favorite Buckeyes I've ever had the pleasure of watching, and that 2019 team, everybody on that team has a special place in my heart. So, okay.
Dude, the Broncos just suck.
Yeah,
Broncos suck.
Okay, we'll get to some AFC best. Well, I guess they're not the AFC best anymore, but we'll get into some AFC West talk. Okay. The Las Vegas Raiders are the only 0-3 team in the NFL. And today, I wasn't watching the game again. I had other shit to watch. Bills fucking Dolphins is fucking fire. But when I was watching that game, like the one thing that really like stuck into my mind was that Raiders offense wasn't getting the ball moving in the first half. Josh McDaniels, they bring in him. They bring in Devontae Adams. They get Chandler Jones on defense to complement Crosby. Like that offense wasn't moving the ball, and I think it comes down to that O-line.
Sucks.
No,
it sucks. There's no other.
You're so limited. You're so limited with what that offensive line gives you. And if you want to run a deep route to Devontae, you better fucking pray you hold up. Everything has to be underneath. Everything has to be short routes. You have if you run long developing plays, you cannot guarantee the time it takes to get that pass off. And that's a concern I have for the Raiders, but I'm not going to spend any more time on them because fuck the Raiders. They're the only 0-3 team in the country.
Josh McDaniels is not a good head coach.
Yeah, I don't think he has it. I'm just not a fan of younger coaches in general.
He's not even younger. He was a head coach of the Broncos
actually 9-10 years ago. But in general, Josh McDaniels to me still has that vibe of like a younger, hip, offensive-minded coach.
He's like a 45-year-old man.
But he has that kind of vibe. No?
I get that. I mean, I agree. It's
when I think of Josh McDaniels, I just think of he's a younger guy.
It's the visor with the sweatshirt on. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree.
But okay, moving on from that. Okay, Jaguars, Chargers. I don't really have much to say about this game other than the fact that it really hit me. Injuries are such a big factor in football. They matter a lot. And sorry, I'm coughing a lot. I'm just about to vomit thinking about the injuries that the Chargers have. J.C. Jackson, Keenan Allen, Corey Linsley, Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Kenneth Murray, and Rashawn Slater all have picked up injuries in the past 3 weeks. For the Chargers, those are 7 of.
Dude, you look like you're about to cry.
I'd say 7 of our 9 studs.
You look like you're actually about to cry right now.
It's
taking an emotional toll.
It pained me to watch what happened for the team this week. It was like every 5 plays, a new crucially important player to our team just out for the year. And I didn't even know how to react to it. It was just before the game started, 4 hours before kickoff, I thought Justin Herbert wasn't playing. And then I find out he's playing. I got my confidence back up, thought we're about to get a win, and fucking 5 snaps into the game, Joey Bosa, Kenneth Murray, Rashawn Slater all hurt.
Oh, and then they also decided to keep in Herbert until the end of the fourth quarter without their O-line.
Now, I mean, I'm not so mad. I mean, it's the NFL. You leave your starters in. Like, I don't really care about taking them out. But this team's not winning shit without Corey Linsley or Slater. They're like Keenan Allen is so important to this team on third down, and they don't have that blanket option on third down, your go-to guy. They don't have that anymore. And with Joey Bosa out, we saw on the 4th and 1 50-yard run from James Robinson, you can attack one side if you only have one passing threat on the team. And that's what the Jaguars did in the second half. And they fucking court-screwed my team. So, yeah, shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last thing I want to say, these Jags under Doug Peterson are completely different than those Jags under Urban Meyer. And these Jags deserve some credit. The AFC South is up for grabs this year. The AFC South
it really is.
It's completely up for grabs. I don't know who's winning the AFC South.
It's the Colts, the Titans, the Jags, and the Texans.
Yep. I don't know who's winning that division.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's either gonna be the Texans or the Jags.
Yeah, I'm more confident in the Texans and Jags than the Colts and the fucking other team.
The Titans, the Titans can pick it up like very easily. Like I mean that coaching.
I don't know. I'm just not too confident. That offense is one dimensional now. If you stuff the box,
yeah,
all you have to do.
I mean that's very true, but I mean,
we'll one dimensional offenses you can't win. Okay, last game we want to go over. Bills Dolphins. We would go over the Bucks Packers game, but we started recording like 30 minutes after it finished, so we're not going over that. But I guess Tom Brady probably would have won if he had weapons. I don't know. Okay, Bills Dolphins. My first opinion before we get to offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey and his situation. Tua was 1,000% concussed after that hit. There was another hit in college football last night where guy gets hit, he gets up, and you can see he can't even stand on his feet. Like he can't even get his footing. He's just falling over. And Tua clearly probably should not have gone back in that game.
So here's the deal. The back of your head is like the most important part. Like if you get hit back there, like you can't. This is why in boxing and stuff, you can't punch the back of the head. So he slammed his head into the ground, the back of his head into the ground, and that's what I mean is obvious of him getting a concussion. Also, the NFLPA is investigating it now.
All right, I got a clip. Fuck the analysis. Okay, I'm all about player safety and everything. Like, I'm all about keeping the guys healthy. I'm all about that Will Smith concussion protocol movie bullshit. But you know how Roger Goodell and the NFL operates. We all know how they operate. They want to put the best product on the field. And that's what they did this Sunday. It was already a disgrace that they made this game happen in the early morning slate. It was already a disgrace that it wasn't Sunday Night Football or in a primetime game, but he had to put the best product on the field, and that's what the Miami Dolphins did. Tua had to play in this game. He had to play. Dolphins versus Bills. Winner of this has a good chance to win the AFC East when it's all said and done. So this game mattered a lot. Tua had to play. Roger Goodell was in the ear of Mike McDaniels, and Tua had to play. That's my take on it. Tua had to play.
Yeah,
best product on the field.
Telling me Teddy Bridgewater wouldn't be the game winner?
Well, Teddy went 0 for 2, 0 yards, and had a sack when he was in the game. So probably not, Everett. Probably not.
Damn, rest in peace, Teddy. 2 gloves. No, I agree. Goodell clearly cares so much about player safety up over there.
I mean, at the end of the day, numbies is everything, and you got to get the knees up. Look, get your weight up, not your hate up, ladies and gentlemen. So, I mean, Roger Goodell had to do what was best for business, and Tua had to play.
Get the views.
I got nothing else to say. If Tua didn't play in that game, the ratings would have been fucking.
Well, actually, no, that's not necessarily true. You know why?
Would have been ass, Everett. They would have been ass.
The butt punt.
The butt punt wouldn't have happened if Tua wasn't in that game to even set up that scenario. Do you get what I'm saying? So many things happened as a result of forcing Tua to play in this game. Despite a butt punt, the Dolphins beat the fucking Bills today, Everett. I also can't wait to hammer the Bills spread when that game's in Buffalo in like 3 months.
And
I'd almost lock it up. The Bills.
Ken Dorsey had a fucking aneurysm over it.
I'd actually almost guarantee that the Bills will win their next matchup and cover the spread. I'd almost.
They probably will. No,
but sure. Okay, that was a lot for this episode. We're about an hour in. I don't want you guys to be bored listening to us. I want you guys to keep listening to us. Everett, if you have one more point, you have 30 fucking seconds to say it.
Okay. All right, here we go. Your backup quarterback, Chase Daniel, has 3 career wins. He has 3 career wins. These are the quarterbacks he's beaten: Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, and your own quarterback, Phillip Rivers.
No way!
Phillip Rivers.
So you're telling me we probably should have started this guy this Sunday?
I mean, yeah, he beat fucking Phillip Rivers, dude.
I mean, he would have given us a chance to win at least, unlike Herbert today. I mean, the offense today, it kind of hurt to watch. There was just nothing going on. I don't really know.
Well, next week, there's always next. I don't know who the hell Chargers play next week, but
yeah, me neither. I think that's the deal for this week, though. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Rate us 5 stars, like and subscribe. Download the podcast, re-listen to it when you go on a plane. Listen to us. It's the only thing I ask. Listen to us when you're on a plane. Everett, what else you got to wrap up this week?
That's it. Waterboy is out.